Hi, my name is Jalen Jenkins, and I'm introducing a project called SafeHaven. I created this project and program to introduce and shed enlightenment on PTSD and how it affects inner city youth in areas of South Africa. My goal is to provide some knowledge on the impact that continuous crime holds on people's mental. But more importantly, I want to express my credibility from my personal experiences growing up in Chicago and shedding light on the histories of crime in U.S. cities. Because crime doesn't just stop in your area, it is a global problem that affects people on a wide scale. What is PTSD? Well, the definition is a disorder in which a person has difficulty recovering after experiencing or witnessing terrifying events. Some symptoms may involve nightmares, anxiety, depression, and even avoidance. Many people have this fairy tale analogy that PTSD can only affect war veterans, but the reality of this is every individual is fighting their own form of war every day, and everything that people see and go through in life plays a toll on their psychological, unconsciously or consciously. Here I have a chart displaying crime rates from major U.S. cities. The most common crimes are aggravated assault, rape, and robbery. But murder is a crime that is affecting more than a victim. Families and friends go through the emotional toll that this brings. I specifically lost my best friend in fifth grade, and then I lost a close friend my freshman year of high school to gun violence, which is very common in other kids' lives. This ultimately shaped how I moved around certain areas because I later learned I'm very cautious and environment aware at all times. I also tend to overanalyze every loud sound from fireworks to car brakes because of the many times I will hear shootouts and nearby drive-bys, probably a street away or even a block away. I've stood in a hospital room at the age of 13 as they pulled bullets out of my uncle and experienced those emotions like disbelief and anger, but more importantly, I remember those times to this day. Here I have a chart displaying crime rate in South African cities, which top crimes are aggravated robbery, rape, and murder. Rape is one of those crimes that affect people that were involved, but also uninvolved because the fact that this is happening ultimately shapes the mindsets of to other women that this could happen to them. Another interesting trend that I see is car thefts. While this definitely makes drivers more cautious, I personally remember areas back home where it was unsafe to stop at lights, signs, and specific gas stations because it increased your risk of, being exposed to this type of crime. But the biggest factor of the matter is these crimes are happening at a high rate in these areas. Now I'm going to get into some statistics of crime rates in specific violent cities and chances of becoming a victim. In Detroit, Michigan, for violent crimes on a scale of 1,000 residents, 19.5% is a chance that it would affect. But also the chances of being a victim yourself is on a 1 to 51 scale. In St. Louis, you have a 19.2 with a 1 to 5 ratio. In Memphis, Tennessee, you have a 19% with a 152 chance. And here's where it gets interesting. In African cities, one named Cape Town, the crime rate has a 30.9% chance of happening. But also, your chance of being a victim is 2 to 60. In Johannesburg, the crime rate has a 29.5 chance of happening, but your chances of being a victim is 2 to 72. In comparison, compared to the US, South Africa has a 54% higher crime level and a 7 times higher murder rate and 5 times higher rape rate. But also, the conviction rate is 2 times higher in the US compared to South Africa. And all contributing to this is a high amount of organized crime groups, corrupt police officials, and a high poverty rate. This confirms that violence is worse in South Africa cities, but more importantly, if this is causing PTSD in the youth in the US, the effects on South African youth is unfathomable, and it's time to take this into account and make changes and bring some type of comfort. And here are a few of my sources that I've read and went through. Thank you for your time.